Hey, Steve with Trimble, and this connected construction tip number 26. It's kind of a two for one. It's going to be a brief overview of how to train models to automatically extract and classify point cloud regions that you're interested in, not just the ones we have on there. So you can kind of own those models and figure out what you want. In this example, we're actually going to show you how to train a model and then have it used to extract out anchor bolts in them. We're going to actually, because it just came out, show you how to push that data to the Trimble Reality Cloud Platform Service. So what this really looks like, and this is FieldLink, and what you'd be using in the field, you could easily resection the scanner like what was done here and have that placed, even if you only have 2D models on top of where it should live. So here we can actually start to see like these anchor bolts are roughly in the right spot. I'll turn on the full density so we can see that, and we can actually say they are. And I could here like start to create points on these anchor bolts that can currently, without the Reality Cloud Platform Service, be viewed on Connect. But if I can send that cloud, I'd rather do that. So here we can see those full ones. I can export this directly as an E57 non-structured LAS. Or if I do have a 3D model, actually run a scan to model inspection and export that to Connect. I would simply export it. Let's say I already did that. We're going to change this to AB and then drag and drop that in Connect and let it tile before we get there. Now, if I wanted to do this automatically, I could do this in TBC and train my own model. I'm going to link to the training of custom 3D learning models and advanced point cloud filtering webinar, so you can actually hear from the experts on how to do this and get some more detail on what is happening. But to classify a point cloud region automatically, I would go to the training module, and then I've done this previously, but you kind of need to manually do this the first time so that you can give it a training file set and validation, where you're essentially taking most of the region, and then it's important to have the entire point cloud, but then to have it within that be classified regions within there, so that you have like a not what you want to see and what you do want to see classified all within the same LAS. And the same thing for the validation. You'd want to do this on a couple different data sets and you can retrain it. And then you'd select like your voxel size. That is essentially the size it's going to look at. So for small anchor bolts, I'd do like 1, but they'll cover more of that in that webinar too and what those mean. And then you're going to run it through a training data set. So this will take quite a bit of time to actually train it because it's deep learning. So it's going to try and figure out based on the scan data and what you've submitted, how it can figure out and match that later for you. So we've done that. It'll show you kind of even the, I guess, the score of what it's coming back through in that tensor board. We're not going to run that right now just because it does take a little bit of time. But once it is done, and we'll show you a little bit of what that tensor board looks like, you can come in and select the custom and then the model that you want to run. You probably want to name that a little bit better than I did, and then classify the data that you want. So here I'm selecting the 9 used, and then I'll classify the anchor bolts. So that's going to use that model to kind of automatically extract out just the anchor bolts. Within that webinar, they show you some customer examples. If you do a good job of segmenting and submitting enough data for it to compare to, they were seeing success rates of 98, 99%. You're going to see the model I used to train it and is actually the same model I'm using here without really going through and doing too much. Didn't score as well, but still is pretty successful. So we'll let that take its time to kind of chug through, and then we'll show you what the results look like after it's done. If we jump over to the new Connect Reality Cloud, you can actually see this is what I've done earlier. You can push it from Connect, or what you can do is drag and drop those E57s and then tile it and view it. So that data is going to come up because we've georeferenced it. Everything's essentially in the right spot, and I can start to turn those on. So here is that E57 data. And then what I like to do is also always keep that anchor bolt or the model data that's there. So here we can see the E57. I pushed from field link, I moved it over, dropped it in Connect, and you can see it there. For what the anchor bolts look like, actually look a little bit like this. You can see I have quite a bit of noise because I didn't train a great model, but it does extract out pretty well what that looks like. So as it's chugging through here, we'll come back and show you that result when it's done. But I'm able to quickly train that model to segment what I want. Quickly is a relative term. But once I do have that done, it's able to classify it and then send it over pretty quickly over to Connect, which we'll link below not only to that webinar, but to the free trial version of the Reality Cloud Platform service. So you can load up your own data and really start to communicate with those involved in the project where things are at. And if you can quickly slice this out, users don't need to learn how to turn on and off different classification layers or use clip planes. So it is a pretty nice workflow. So we'll jump over and see where we're at, about 42% of the way done. So please reach out to your nearest Trimble distributor, Building Point representative, so that they can start to show you and talk to you about not only the deep learning, but really what is interesting even without that. And I think really valuable is just sending that data here to Connect so that you can share that with other stakeholders and they don't even need a license. They can come in and actually see where that's at. So we'll wait for that deliverable to be done and then we'll end this one. We will have additional videos coming later, kind of showing you more about especially the Reality Cloud platform. And then if you have any more interest on the deep learning, please let us know. If you want to take this this model, please let me know for your anchor bolt extraction. We can share that. Or if you want to see something else actually trained and modeled, we'd be happy to show you that. But again, the real value here is you can quickly train these, or you can train your own classification models that you own, and then find the data that you care about quickly after you do train them. And then, so here we have it completed. If we come in here and I switch over, and sorry, I'm not the most advanced TBC user, we can see what it was extracted out, and pretty happy actually with those results. But you can see, obviously, still has some cleanup probably needed to do, and some spray that could be better fixed with more training on a model with more data, and kind of continue to improve that. So from here, I could push it up from TBC, or I could just create this as an LAS E57 file, drag and drop that into Connect, and then see it here in the Reality Capture tab. So I can set everything there, or if I get it there, I can actually change the classification of what's in there too. So thanks, and we'll see you in another 2 weeks.